And Dima, your phone on silent?
No. I told you, Chuck is the one who actually is the brains behind all of this.
Don't say that. That's
I'm
a whole
just
lie.
here.
That's a whole lie. Okay. And
here.
you should see, and even be like, yo, your captions are too formal. Your captions are way too formal. You're like writing an essay. I'm like, I don't know what to do. This is where my mind goes.
How you reached out to me compared to when I first talked to you on the phone? I was like, oh, this is a totally different vibe. It was like real professional. I was just like, I was real like but that's the thing that was good because I took you real serious.
Right.
Like even when you were like, do you respond to text messages? I was just like, yes sir. I respond to text messages. Yeah, I got you.
That is hilarious.
Oh,
and then like I talked to you on the phone. I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's cool.
Okay. I'm keeping that. I like that as the intro.
Yeah.
What's good, everybody? You see in our conversation, we're just talking a little bit behind the scenes, but welcome. We appreciate you for tuning in. Welcome to another episode of Got This in Black. We are back again. Continue to be back. We appreciate our first-time listeners. We appreciate our new listeners. And shout out to whoever hipped you to the pod. First thing we need you to do, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify,
and rate
Apple
us
Music.
On the podcast. Whatever
Rate
the
us.
podcast
Rate us on
platform is.
Spotify. Rate us
Yes.
on Apple Music. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We got that TikTok popping now. So, yeah, let's do that. But, yeah, we're back with a new episode. As you see, we have some distinguished guests to our middle. My left and my lefter are some dope creatives. And, of course, to the left, this is Dima. So we're going to start to my left. We have Maeva.
Hi,
And to my lefter, we have Yogi. So
what's good?
we always like to start the podcast talking about what people are wearing. I mean, this is a fashion podcast, so we can start with Maeva. What do you have on?
So I think like everything I'm wearing is pretty much. Oh, okay. So my pants are from Pretty Little Thing. This dress top situation is from Target. Glasses are from ASOS, and bunch of random jewelry that was gifted to me too. And yeah, that's my fit.
Okay.
I love the
you
glasses.
said the jewelry was black on. Though,
Oh
right?
yes, the jewelry is black on. My mama made these earrings, so yeah.
Dope.
All right, Yogi, talk to me. What you got on?
Mingo, bought the Mingo for the bucket. Brownmill Company shirt. Open exhibit shorts and Blue the Great Jordan 1s.
Hey.
The fit is fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fit is fitting.
I like it.
And Dima, talk to me. What you got on?
So this is Cross Colors. I love Cross Colors. They have a pair of, first of all, there's a sale right now. I don't know if there'll still be a sale by the time this drops, but there's a sale right now. And I have my eyes on these shorts that have Tupac on them, little Tupac faces. So y'all will see me in that soon. But yeah, this is jacket by Cross Colors. The middle of the outfit is not important. And then some Air Maxes that I really like. And that's my fit.
Okay. Yeah, and Dima, you lucky I can't fit that jacket. I would have stole that joint by now.
Not a joint hard. For real.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Hide it from Chuck.
Me, I have on a shirt from Fist Up Afros Out. That is a dope brand out of PG County. Shout out Hayes, of course. Shorts are AO Studio 21, another black-owned brand outside of PG County. So yeah, bucket I think is Stussy, OG joint. But yeah.
I love a good sushi piece.
Yeah, classic.
So today we kind of wanted to talk about, we're trying to give you guys the industry from different perspectives. So we've brought actual designers, from Sean Collins, a shoe designer, to Faye Mancha, who has our own upcycle brand. We've brought you stylists, and today we're going to talk about it from a shooter's perspective. So these two are very dope photographers, and I think photography and fashion kind of go hand in hand because you're always seeing pictures of it. Everybody's taking photos and things like that. So we wanted to kind of bring you that perspective.
Street photography, editorial.
Street photography and Fashion Week is very big as well. Like it's just really growing. Like that could put you on the map for real. A good street photo. So today, let's kind of start. Tell me, Maeva, when's the first time you picked up a camera?
Origin story.
Ooh.
Yes. Hopefully not a villain origin story.
First time I picked up the camera had to be like 2006, maybe around that time. I remember being in high school. It was literally my uncle's camera that he bought to take like family pictures. I will say though, like I've always like been around cameras. Like my family's big on documenting. My dad always recorded everything. There's like endless VHS tapes of me doing like dance routines and stuff like that. So that was like always like inherent. But I picked up the camera in high school for the first time, just like playing around, just enjoying documenting myself. Definitely like started with like self portraits and just random pictures of cupcakes, things like that. Just like, you know, I feel like when you first pick up the camera, especially at a younger age, you just take pictures of everything because you're just like, whoa, like I can do that.
Even at an older age.
Yeah.
Do you by chance remember what type of camera it was?
It was a Canon. I've been a Canon girl, OG Canon girl from jump. I remember that vividly. I can't remember which like model, but it was a Canon.
Okay. Like a DSLR, or you were more like a film, like?
It was a DSLR.
Okay.
So that was like the first time I like kind of like really started learning about cameras was a DSLR. I did take like a film course in high school. That was like really great experience. It was like my first time taking a photo and then like developing the film myself, being in the dark room and all of that. That was a dope experience. And that was like around the same time. Yeah.
Okay, so what is a DSLR? Because I don't know. And Dima, she takes photos, so she's hip to a lot of stuff.
It's pretty much just a digital camera.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the difference between that and like a film camera.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. And it's interesting that you bring up like your dad documenting, because I feel like the look of like the 90s like camera is like back now. Like people are got the Polaroids, people are using
100%.
the different
Film
like filters and stuff like that.
But even like in post production, like how the output is like very much so like raw.
Yeah.
You know, like you're
I love
seeing
that
a lot.
process.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Very beautiful. It's really amazing to see how many people are developing their own film, scanning their own film. I think that's like the dopest part about how much like film photography has come back around. It's like the kids are doing it themselves at home. That's really dope to me.
And it's because there's nowhere to get it done for real.
Yeah.
No, they really
like you got to
don't.
ship it off to New York or something if you want it done right. Like nobody's doing that. And then film is expensive as heck. So it's like
And the price just went up.
And
because now it's like
inflation.
so that's the thing, right? About like when these type of things come back around, when you have like authentic people and then you have like the clout part of things, because like now, because the aesthetic of having a film photo became so popular that now the cost of film has skyrocketed. So the people who actually like need it for a living are struggling.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. So, Yogi, when did you first pick up a camera?
I first picked up a camera 2012. The homie Lou, you know Lou.
Yeah.
Was working on a few like artistic projects, and the problem, and I was a part of the process, but the problem we were always running into was nobody to document it. And my pops just happened to have a camera in the house, Nikon, like probably like a D3000, I think. And
I remember that one.
yeah, it was a good camera.
Yeah.
But then I changed to Canon, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Canon gang.
He chose the winning side.
Whatever.
What you shoot on, Dima?
Nikon.
Yeah.
I used to shoot on a Canon though.
Okay.
Yeah. And then my dad got me an Olympus when I graduated. I hated that camera.
Really?
I didn't like it. Well, okay, when I first got it, I really liked it, but like I've had it for so long and things have broken on it, so I just like the relationship just turned from there.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But when I shot on film, it was always a Canon. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so Yogi, tell me a little bit about your progression from like just picking up the camera to starting to take it actually seriously.
So it started with documenting like the artistic world of things, kind of like music stuff. The homies had an open mic series called Sice Series.
Oh, the Sice joint.
So a lot of event photography, birthdays. PG County is known for having a bunch of different modeling companies, modeling training companies too. So I think that's how I really started to get into like the modeling lane. But it definitely started from like.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's quite a few.
The Rose Girls out here doing it, man.
Who?
The Rose Girls.
I don't even know about
The
them.
Rose Girls, really?
No.
Oh my god.
Cool.
Yeah, so from street photography to event photography to modeling and fashion. It's kind of how I got into it.
Okay. And Maeva, tell us a little bit about your story, because I know when we talked before, you kind of it was definitely unique. So kind of let the people know about your progression as a photographer.
Yeah. I mean, when I started with photography, it was really just fun. It was just like capturing whatever was around me, and then it moved into, I think, like a lot of shooters, we go into like documenting our friends, like especially if you have friends who make music and things of the sort. For me, my photography has always been inspired by people. I've always been a storyteller, so that's kind of how it started, just kind of like shooting like the homies, and it was really video for me, honestly. It started off with video, so I would be like doing video of the homies at the studio, little recaps or like studio sessions, things of the sort, like bootleg music videos, things of the sort. And then it went from that to just shooting certain things with friends, but I really wasn't heavy on photography, honestly, when I started. Like photography for me was just really documenting myself when I started, and I was really heavy into video. It wasn't until I want to say 2017 to 2018 that I got really focused on photography itself. I ended up like getting a studio space to record YouTube videos of all things, and I started like messing around with the like photography equipment there. And then I took a studio lighting class, and then from that point on, that was like, boom, that was it. I was just like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So I just focus on photography, and then I'm a Virgo. I get very obsessed with like being perfect at things. So once I like,
Virgo energy.
yeah, especially because like life is like, the older you get, the more you realize that perfection is not attainable. It's not really real. But because we still seek it, for me, like photography was that space where I'm like, oh, like I can't have a perfect life, but I can make an absolutely perfect image. So I got like really obsessed with like the process, like the post-shoot process, editing, retouching, all of that. And I just got really focused on that between like 2017 and now, pretty much.
Can I ask you a little bit about like shooting yourself? Because I feel like as someone who did a little bit of photography back in the day, like that was my least favorite subject.
Really?
Myself.
And that's so funny that you worded it that way too.
So I'm just like tell me like what made you want to shoot yourself first, and like what were your feelings about shooting yourself? Like those are my two questions.
I think for me, looking out into the world, I never saw myself. I never really saw people who looked like me, who, if they looked like me, they didn't dress like me. If they looked like me, they weren't into what I was into. I always felt like an oddball out my entire life. So I just, the quote is, I'm my own muse. I'm the subject that I know best, the subject that I want to continue to, develop and learn most about. And it just always made sense. It's not really something that I can like fully articulate, but I just knew that when I looked at it, I didn't see myself. So I had to see myself, pretty much. Like I had to make that space for me to see myself. So self-portraits have always been just like the number one thing for me. Yeah. I don't really know, like, I don't know if that like makes sense.
Check out her Instagram. Like, she gonna plug it at the end. Like, her self-portraits.
No, I was gonna say hearing you explain it makes a lot of sense why your self-portraits look the way they look.
Yeah.
Because like I've taken self-portraits, but to like test an idea or to test lighting, so it's not something I'm planning on putting out. It's just kind of like a test. Like, let me just play around with it. But you put a lot of attention and a lot of energy into your actual process of your self-portraits, and it shows.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where like, and as we spoke about this, about how before photography, really fashion, makeup, and all these things were things that I was really interested in. Like I styled like 90% of my shoots. I used to do makeup for all of my shoots. Like I stopped doing makeup for my shoots like a year ago, literally. Wow. I used to do that for all of my shoots. So whenever I get to like do creative self-portraits, like it's all of those things come together, right? And it's like it's even in 2022, I don't look at a magazine and see somebody who looks like me on the cover, but when I'm at home and I'm doing a self-portrait, I can put all those elements together and see myself in that light. you know, and show that to the world too. So
the showing it to the world part is like the part I feel like is so amazing and so important, because it's like people can go on your page and be like, okay, like these pictures are phenomenal, they're gorgeous. So people will see that and be like, come on, let's diversify what we got out there, because look at this.
Yeah. That's really 100%. What it is. That's like my mission, honestly. Like, I don't want little Black girls to grow up and not see themselves. Like, that was such a thing. Like, and I feel like that's something you can relate to. Like, the way the world is now for little Black girls compared to when we were growing up, it's already so much better, but it can be even better. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having 1 or 2 or 3, it should be the norm, you know? And that's like really where that comes from for me, because I'm like, even when I'm scared to put myself out there, I always tell myself that God gave me the vision to see myself the way that I see myself, to inspire other people to see themselves. So even when I'm scared, like a lot of times I post and I log out for like a week. Like, I don't want to see the reaction, nothing. I can relate to that. And I'm like, even if I, you know, like, and that's even, you know, not just self-portraits, my work in general. Like, sometimes I just post and I'm gone. I'm like, I don't know what they're going to say, but I did my part, and my part was to share.
Got you. Well, kind of speaking on representation and kind of pivoting and all of that, Yogi, who are some of the Black creatives that inspire you specifically, especially in photography and fashion photography?
Right now, there's a lot, man. Like, there's so much dope, especially photography work out right now. Raynel.
That was like the top.
She's so dope. Adrienne Raquel is dope as too. Braylin Dionne.
Yes.
Tayo.
Yeah.
Tayo's fire.
Shout out Tayo. Yeah.
Micah Carter.
Micah. Oh man, how did I forget Micah? Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, we're on the same vibe with that, so yeah.
It's so much talent out right now.
So many people. So many good people.
So curious. Like, I will admit, I have not. I don't know. I felt out of touch with art, like, in the last couple of years, and you guys are making me so excited to like dive back in and like see what's out there, because you know we're so creative, and if we're doing all these creative things in fashion, which is like what I'm really laser focused on, and we're doing like these creative things with music, like obviously we're doing it with photography and art, and
100%.
I'm like so excited to like,
100%.
Google these folks and like
Black photography is at the forefront right now. It's really amazing to see.
I would honestly say we run the game.
We run the game. We really do. And then it's like it's literally Black women and Black men at the forefront. It's mind blowing.
That's what it should be, because we are it. We are the sauce. We are the creator. So it's like it's about time that we run it, because we've basically been running it, but it's like getting to the ownership aspect is where we struggle at. But as far as like the natural creativity, like a Black person wakes up and just like makes history, makes dope thing like out of their sleep. So I'm glad
the way we are, the way we just show up in the world.
It's like,
and for so long, so many people made so much money off of capturing us. So now that we're in a space where we're capturing us, is really, really. It's this beautiful thing.
And to that point too, now that I'm kind of like, you know, the more you're around certain things, the more you experience, the more rooms you can get into, the more you really see what's really going on.
Yeah.
From what I've been hearing, a lot of like photography assistants that were making some of these photos that are like iconic that we've loved were Black people.
We're Black people, more than anything. There's so many artists too, like so many photographers, and I'm not gonna name names, but so many Black bigger photographers where, you know, when they get to a certain space, they're not really doing that work, honestly. No. Like they really come in the whole, and that's the thing too that people don't understand. Like that's why it's so amazing when I see my peers doing what they do, because I know what it really takes to put a project together. Like if you have a real project, you have a lighting assistant, you have a grapher, you have all these people, but you're seeing people doing that on their own, you know? So it's like when you really know what goes into a great image, especially once you like understand lighting and understand all these things, and then you realize that like a lot of these sets, and that, I don't know if this just me, when it comes to being a photographer and people are like, that's so amazing, like, you know, you took this picture, it's amazing. I'm like, that's not just me. Like, yes, I
It's a bunch of
saw it,
people.
but the reason why you're so attracted to this image is because of that lighting. It's because of that subject of how she posed,
Yeah.
the hair, the makeup. All
Yeah.
of these things made this great image.
100%.
And those people weren't getting credited for
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
You know, it was just
Yeah.
like, this amazing photographer did it.
Yeah.
Like, nah, this guy put that light together. If he didn't do that light, that image wouldn't come out like
The
that.
light,
You
the
know,
set,
so the
the
set,
stylist,
like,
the makeup.
and now even the stylists are getting their own shine.
Yep.
They're
Yeah.
making
Yep.
household names.
Yep.
Like, and
Yeah.
this the black stylist. It's really just wonderful to see.
Yeah.
It.
For real.
I love that. Like well, remember like it was like our first or second episode when we were like naming all of the people who we wanted to highlight with this podcast, and it just was like keeping in mind that like anything in the creative world, like you said, the people who are doing the lighting, the people who are doing the makeup, the people who are doing the styling, the people who are doing like every single aspect, like Black people touch all of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Yep. We're everywhere.
Yeah.
Truly.
So I guess I actually want to get into the topic of like kind of the back end of like a photo and like a photo shoot. But before we get there, what do you guys carry in like your photography bag when you're going to a shoot? Like, what are your go-tos? What are the things that you need on set?
I'm gonna let you answer first because I'm real basic. I'm terrible. When I tell people my equipment, they're like, "What?"
So it depends because I'm kind of to the point that Maeva just said. I am just getting to the point where I'm like, oh, I can ask other people to help on this. Well, I don't have to do it all on my own. So definitely a camera, obviously. Couple lenses. Depending on what I'm doing, I might just do 2 lenses just to keep it tight and not have to think about too much else. I keep a LED light. My trigger for my strobes. Batteries, memory cards. That might be it.
Yeah, that sounds like
That might be it.
the.
Do you have a favorite lens?
35.
35.
I
Okay.
just
Sigma
fell
Art
in love with it.
35.
Yeah, I just fell in love with her very recently.
Yeah.
But my 50 millimeter is still my forever child.
Okay.
I have
need a
shot
50.
99% of my work, 99%, and I'm not exaggerating, of my work on a 50 millimeter 1.4. Like that's my
series?
child. Yeah.
Nice.
Dead. I'm especially the things to it, and that's where lighting comes into place, right? Because if you think about a bulk of my work starting off, it's studio. You don't need anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't need to have the amazing lens for studio work.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, but then that lens still transitions into being quite amazing when you're working outside with shadows, with different kinds of lights, and if you're doing like, you know, depth of field and things of the sort. So the aperture on it is quite amazing. So I've done like 99% of my work on it. I've just now started like using a 24 to 70 or 35 because I'm like, I need it because
Yeah.
now things are expanding,
Yeah.
you know, so I
Right.
have to like be able to do more because a 50 millimeter is a limited range. But yeah, you don't need much. That's like the biggest thing I'll tell you. Up until I got between 2017 and 2020, I was shooting on a Canon T3i. I upgraded to a 60 Mark II in 2020.
And you were using the 51.4 on.
No, I was using 51.8 at that time.
Okay,
So
okay,
it wasn't
okay,
even that.
Me
you
and
know?
Chuck are like, what are they talking about?
They're speaking a whole nother language up here.
I knew when you were talking about a 50 mil. Okay, I was like, all right, I know that. Aperture, I know that word.
So I asked that question. I asked that question because a lot of people spend tons of money on equipment,
You don't need it.
on a camera body and a camera lens. When all you really need to know how to do is use it.
Exactly.
You know how to use it, it translates.
That and lighting.
Yeah,
Like,
lighting,
I
for
literally
sure.
have had like lighting is my life. Like I'm very big. I'm constantly teaching myself new things when it comes to lighting. Once you understand that lighting is the key to any image, it changes your perspective into thinking you need all these fancy things. I invest more into my lighting equipment than I do into my camera, more than anything. Mind you, if I could afford to just buy all the lenses, I'll buy all of them because of course I want to have fun. I want to
sure.
experiment. But a great tip to anybody who is like starting with photography and everything, you're feeling intimidated because you think you need all these things. You don't. Get you a good camera that's going to be good in low light as well. get you a good lens, and then rent lenses.
Mm-hmm.
I literally just did so earlier this year I did a person that I know, she is the VP for Columbia Records. I did her announcement shoot for Billboard magazine, and I literally just rented the lenses that I needed, because I'm like, that's all you need. Like, you don't have to.
I hope y'all noticed the subtle flex, but continue.
I
Continue. I was like,
know, the presence of greatness
I'm just saying, like,
all around.
But you don't gotta go broke to like make your dreams happen, man. You just do what you can with what you have, and invest when you can. That's
And
really
a
all it
lot of
takes.
people do that. A lot of people will buy the most expensive camera or the most technologically advanced camera. They'll buy the most expensive lens, get on set and not know how to use it.
Yeah.
But then they can't get another gig because they messed up that one.
Exactly.
Right? So now, like you said, they're going broke off of equipment when all you had to do was keep it simple.
Exactly.
keep it simple, I think, is good advice in almost any industry.
Yeah.
We tend to do a lot.
Yeah.
So talk about the back end, like the photography side of a photo shoot, because I mean, we've all done photo shoots. I've been in photo shoot. Yogi shot me like pretty recently, like in the past couple years. A lot of those photos are on my.
Y'all hear this? Chuck is a model.
I am definitely
For
not
real.
a model.
No, he
But
get on
it's
set
like-
and he get on set and turn to a whole model.
Y'all funny. But talk about like the back end of it, like what all the stuff that you're doing, because I feel like you guys photographers, you do so much, and I think people have to understand what you're doing to be able to value it, because I think in general the business world undervalues just creatives because they don't understand the process of it. So kind of like talk about the process and the back end of a photo shoot.
Wanna
You can go. I feel like you touched on the retouching, so I feel like you do a lot more than I do. But yeah.
For me, it's really preparation. I think like people don't really truly underestimate the type of preparation it goes into being at the level that you want to be at. I feel like I do a lot more preparation than I end up having to do actual work on set. Just making sure that like I have a clear vision of what it is that I'm going to do. Like I do diagrams. Like I go really deep into what it is that I'm trying to. I'm big on vision boards. Very big on vision boards, on key shots, understanding what it is that I'm gonna go, because that's what takes you from an amateur shooter to a professional. Is a preparation of. You're not sitting there shooting all day. Yeah. One thing that people always say to me when they shoot with me, they're like, "Oh, we're done." Yeah. I don't need to be here for 5 hours shooting the same angle.
Yeah, 2,000 photos at the end.
Like, nah, no. Max that I leave a shoot for, and I'll say, based on like bigger shoot, smaller shoot, but a regular, couple look shoot, I'll go home with like 400 photos, 400 raws. A bigger shoot, I'm, a big production, then maybe like get close to 1,000 if it's like multiple people. But you don't need, if you're prepared and you're understanding what it is that you're going to capture, if you have like I said, a vision board where you have your key shots, key angles, things that you want to explore, but definitely have fun though, right? So you're going to prepare, and I think the more you prepare, the more it comes into your mind, where before you even get on set, you're like, I already know I have like these 7 key shots in my head that I know I want to get. Once I have those, then I'm having fun. Yeah. Because you should still be having fun with your craft. That's what makes being an artist and making a living off of being an artist so awesome, is that yes, I'm going to get technical and I'm going to do the business, but I get to still have fun, because that's what the core of this is. It's my passion. So for me, it's a good amount of preparation. I'm going to say like, if we're putting like a shoot on like 100% scale, it's like 70% preparation, and then like 20% energy on set, and then the rest is like post. So I put a lot of effort in my post, but I'm always striving to not have to do so much in post, right? So like I'm always working to make sure that I understand my lighting properly, whether it's in studio or outdoors, so that when it comes to editing, I don't have to spend 1,000 hours fixing or trying to make an image something that it already should be.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you said 400 photos and I was at the low end, I was like, damn. That's a lot of, that's 400 being the low end.
Yeah, but like 400, it'll be like 400 raws that I have, but I'll end up with like maybe 60 images that I'm actually going to retouch and edit and everything like that. And I'm I'm a retoucher. I'm very big on like very clean work. So like I don't retouch to make people look different though. So that's like a big thing for me. Like I want, if you have a scar, texture, whatever, like I want whatever it is that you are to still be represented the same way. But I don't want anyone to be distracted from the overall image.
Right.
So that's what I think about when I'm retouching.
Yeah.
Yogi, she mentioned the like 20% is energy. I feel like that's somewhere that you really like thrive out. So talk about the process of like creating that atmosphere on set to make whoever your muses feel comfortable to get that shot, because that's very key. That's definitely very key.
I think it goes back to what she was saying about like preparation. Like once you're able to have the vision of what you want to do, going into the shoot, from there everything's connecting with the person, making sure they're comfortable, and that they understand what's about to happen, so they're not like caught off guard or nervous or anxious at all. And then everything else from there is like, what do you like? What kind of music are you into? Do you need more direction? If you do, we can make that happen. I like to feel people out first before I even start giving too much direction, because some people also get like
Overwhelmed.
overwhelmed by too much direction. So everything is like all feeling people out. That's kind of like my process.
Got you.
Yeah, building that trust with them.
Yeah, building trust is important.
Okay, so dead or alive, who would be a dream fashion photo shoot for you?
That's a good question.
Dead or alive?
If it narrows it down, we could just stay alive.
Not just who you would shoot. Like, you got to paint the picture. Like, what would the shoot look like? I need like, give me the details.
You know what's so crazy? That's one of those things that I don't think about, simply because I think I've mentioned it before. I'm so inspired by my community. And I've told you this, where I feel like the Beyoncés of the world have a million people trying to capture them. But, you know what I'm saying? My homeboy down the street,
Right.
I'm responsible for telling his story, and he's just as dope to me. So that's like a hard question for me. But I think about people whose energy that I can see through like photos. Like, for example, like I don't think I have a person, but like a lot of actors. There's a lot of actors I would want to shoot with because of the energy they bring to a photo shoot. You can see like it's so dynamic, you know, because that's what makes a huge difference in a photo is the energy that the subject is bringing to it. Like, you can see the difference between somebody who's just kind of like there and then somebody who's just like full of themselves. I love a cocky person. I love that. I'm like, you need that on the other side of the camera. You need that. You need that. You need somebody who's like, I'm that guy, I'm that girl. Like, it's my time right now. So, Idris Elba, that's somebody that I would love to shoot with because I feel like he brings a lot of energy to set. I love the dynamics like in his photos. Who else? Fashion wise, Precious Lee. She's a plus size fashion. So y'all, I want to shoot with Precious so bad, man. She just Paloma. I love Paloma. That's another model who's just amazing. Fashion. Those are people I would love to shoot with. It's like hard for me to think off the top of my head, but like, those people, I just like people who have like who bring good energy, like because you could put anything on them and they're gonna kill it. Right.
The first two people I thought of when you said that were Pac and DMX.
DMX.
I love every photo I've seen of any of them have been like,
yes,
you can feel it.
Absolutely.
But alive, St. John would be dope.
Yes.
Kendrick would be dope.
Kendrick would be
really dope.
Yeah, and Cudi.
Cudi too.
Oh my God, Cudi.
Like his new Esquire, the Esquire shoot.
Oh my God. Did y'all read the article too?
Yes.
I didn't see the article yet.
I love him so much.
He's one of my favorite artists. Oh my God.
Cudi's dope.
Ooh, and Dead, Jean-Michel Basquiat. That's I'm a big Basquiat girl. I have like mad Basquiat tattoos. Big fan of Basquiat. That's where Maeva the Radiant comes from the Radiant Child.
Wow.
That's where that whole thing comes from. Big. So that would be somebody that I would want to capture. But I would want to just capture him existing.
Yeah, same.
Not necessarily like a put together shoot. Like I would have given anything to have had the opportunity to just go to his studio and just capture him being himself.
Yeah.
That's one of the most interesting people to me. So, yeah.
Okay.
Keke Palmer. I think Keke Palmer would be dope.
She would
Kiki.
be fun. It would be great energy on that set.
Have
Oh
a
my
lot of
gosh.
fun. That Virgo. That's what it is. It's that Virgo energy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Virgo.
All right, so
I
let's
Virgo.
let's shift a little bit. Apparently we have a mercenary on the loose
Oh Lord.
Mm-hmm.
doing heinous acts with the camera,
Oh my
usually
God.
for Vogue, and her name is Annie Leibovitz. So recently,
It's Annie
You just really
Leibovitz.
Annie Leibovitz.
You
that
really now
name.
rocking with
You
her.
oh, okay.
butchered
I
Annie
saw online.
Leibovitz.
I saw Anna Lou.
No, it's
No,
Annie
Annie
Leibovitz.
Leibovitz.
Okay, so sorry.
Yeah.
The website I got it wrong. I'm sorry,
Anna
Miss Leibovitz.
They're not rocking with her at all. It might be, but yeah.
Okay,
No.
and Miss Leibovitz Annie is under fire for her recent photos.
Empowered by the other.
Which happens like every
the-
6
the
months.
Anna.
Yeah,
Annie empowered by Anna.
She's under fire for
Anna.
her photos of Justice
man.
Ketanji Brown. She's been under fire for her photos of Simone Biles, Viola
Let's talk about that
Davis.
Viola Davis photo.
No, the Viola one was wild. The Viola one
There was
wild.
another
Really?
person, right?
That's how you feel about it?
There was another person,
I'm gonna let
right?
you get your thoughts on it now, but
Wow,
that's
it's
my
like
girl.
it's even going back a little bit to the LeBron one. They talked about that as well too. So yeah, they're
remember the LeBron one.
the good folks out there are not feeling her photos of black people. They look
I'm so excited for this conversation.
they look a little desolate, a little dried out, a little just like it's just they said it's not given, and it's like it might feel a little intentional. So talk a little bit about capturing. Oh, Lupita there was another one as well
I love
too.
that photo.
Of Lupita?
Yeah.
I'm not mad at the
photo.
Lupita one.
I love the photo of Viola Davis too. It's one of those. I think that photo of Viola Davis. I think it is triggering to Black people, and it is triggering to Black people, and it's not Annie's fault. I think that when you look at Viola Davis, people want to glam her up because Viola Davis, at her core, her looks at her core, at her rawest, I feel like trigger people because she has like a deep African beauty that reminds you of struggle. And I think like when people look at that image, they're seeing struggle. And that's not what I'm seeing. I see so much strength in that photo. Like her skin looks rich to me. But I don't know, when it comes to Annie's work, I think her work is very cinematic, is very dramatic, and she doesn't care about glitz and glam. Yeah. She is focused on capturing the rawest form of that person. The Simone Biles shoot was very powerful and strong to me. I feel like people were like focused on like, oh, this is like bad lighting, but that's just Annie's. I feel like there's a fine line between taste and then now depicting someone's artistic point of view. Because this is not just how she captures Black people, this is how she captures people. Yeah. And I think there's a fine line when we're asking people to light Black. There's very, very, very clear instances where you know Black people are being like lit wrong and being done wrong, being handled wrong. There's no care in the shoot. And then there's instances to me, like for example with Annie, where that's not, I don't think that's what's happening. I don't think it's that she doesn't care to learn how to light Black people properly. I think she simply has a way that she sees people. Like the dynamics of her images are they're very raw, cinematic, and journalistic at the same time. If you see her composition of images, it's hard for me to put into words because I just emotionally connect with Annie's work. So when I see people's reactions, I'm like, I get where y'all are coming from and I get what y'all are saying. But I think that when it comes to art, like Basquiat said, I don't like to discuss art at all. Very much so. You know, unless I know for sure somebody is biased. Yeah. You know what I mean? An artist, which Vogue needs to switch that shit up, period. Excuse me, I don't know if I'm able to curse.
Yeah, you can. You can.
But they need to switch that up. But I think that there are so many, there are artists like Annie who are, I don't think that's like the intention behind her work. I don't know. I just really connect with her work and I love it. I love that photo of Viola Davis. I love that photo of Lupita. I just love a raw image that is stripped of, I don't know, I just feel like I felt like when you look at that image of Viola, do you not feel something?
No, I do. And I understand exactly what you're saying. And I think a piece of it I think a piece of the outrage is that on the biggest stage, our black women are depicted in a certain way, right? Like if and to the second thought, second part of the thought, I think if Annie was younger, she'd have a different approach to each thing, right? Because at a point we're talking style, at a point we're talking her own artistic voice, and like you said, that is her voice across all imagery.
Right.
It just I think it feels different with black people.
But I think the reason why it feels different with black people, I think it's something that we also need to dig deeper into. I think it's fair. Not just, I feel like the reaction of it a lot of times is just like, no, this is bad. Y'all don't like black people. And it's like, why are we reacting that way? Like, what is the trigger here? You know what I mean?
And to that point, it's in strong contrast to what we're so used to seeing now, which is the softer edges in images, less contrast,
which is
heightened shadows.
Yeah, and I think that I think the way photography and fashion photography has been glamorized kind of has babysat people, where I feel like sometimes they're not ready to receive images that make them feel things. Like that Viola Davis image, I truly, truly think triggers people to see her in that light.
I can see that.
Because when you see that, it's usually a poster for a slave movie.
Yeah.
Right?
And I don't think, and to right, not that I'm caping for Annie, but you were like, let me make sure I let y'all know. If she was shooting this for a Manhattan art show in a gallery, it would feel a lot different than on Vogue too. Right. Which is, I think,
that's to the setting as well.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I think in general too, what I definitely understand is I am tired of. I do wish these opportunities were going to other people. That I agree with across the board. But now that she has gotten the opportunity, why are we punishing her for the opportunity? That's another thing too for me.
So let me just start by saying that I'm a Vogue. I used to be a Vogue head ass. I used to love Annie Leibovitz. Like, I loved her work. Like, when I thought about, because I'm a big fan of photojournalism. And so I viewed her from that lens. And some of the photos that she have produced, like her and Avedon were like my everything. I just feel like if a black person had a similar approach to photography that Annie had, those pictures that came out would have came out in a different way that I feel would have looked better for the subjects in photos. Like, I feel
it would still be richer.
Exactly. It would have been, it would have been richer. It would have been, the approach to the photography to have it be raw would have been done in this way that is more complementary to our skin. And that is the issue that I have. I don't have the issue with the fact that it being wrong. Well, I did feel that trigger moment with the Viola Davis photo, and it kind of made me angry that, so why are you portraying, some of the other folks who you photograph in this way where, like, they don't look like they're in angst, and you chose that for her? Like, I did have a little bit of an issue with that specifically.
But she does that with everyone. Like,
not everybody. I've seen all types of Annie Leibovitz photos,
that specific photo of Viola Davis and for Lupita was a specific series that she was shooting. It wasn't like a glitz and glam. It was supposed to be like something that is raw and that makes you feel something. You know what I mean? So I think it's like the setting as well.
And I think I had the issue with that piece of it. So there was an editorial choice that was made where we want to show angst and pain. And I will own I didn't read the article. I didn't see what it was accompanied with, and I think that's part of it. Like, you can't, it's really important that people consume artwork like that in context with, like, whatever is being presented with. I think that part is really important, and I don't want to miss that part. And so I think that my frustration is that I made an assumption that, like, the piece the editorial choice there was like, we want to show anguish and pain, and I feel like we always get that. Like, we get that all the time. I don't want to see that anymore.
And that's why was my point where I was saying that image is triggering to most people, because when Black people see that image, that's where they go. Yeah. That's where they go. When the thing is, art is supposed to make you feel something, right? So and then the thing that I saw on Twitter is like somebody took that image of Viola Davis and then took an image of Viola and compared it of her being so glam. Mm-hmm. Why can't Black people be both peacefully? The thing is, it's like the trigger here is something that is internal, that as a culture has to be healed, right? Because if she did that same shoot and she showed white people showing those same types of emotions, but those images weren't triggering because of the history behind it, right? Because there isn't that history behind it, but there is that history behind us. And Viola Davis is one of those strong faces, strong people that portrays it so well that when you see it, it takes you there. It takes you to that emotion. And I think that if a Black photographer had taken that image, there wouldn't be any talk about it. Mm-hmm. But because she took that image, there's a big controversy about it when the same emotion is being portrayed. And I think that Black people deserve to start representing pain and start representing anguish that isn't taken back to the deepest, darkest history that we had. Because we have a lot of pain right now that is surrounded around the regular ass depression, regular ass everyday problems, inflation, you know what I'm saying? Like
gas prices.
the same way I think I always say that I think like Black excellence is the opportunity to be mediocre as well. Like Black people, we don't get
I love that.
we don't get the opportunity to just fail. And just like we have to win for everybody. No. So we should be able to express pain without it being like hundreds of years of slavery. We should be able to express, you know, we should be able to simply exist in all aspects of life without it being a political discussion every time. Yeah. That's what I'm really truly exhausted for at this point.
And to that point, I'm curious what the context of specifically of the Viola shot was, because when I'm looking at it now, as you were talking, I was like, I wonder if it was surrounded around the movie she did with Denzel.
Mm-hmm. It was around that time.
It was? Mm-hmm. It makes sense why they would have done that then.
Yeah, and it was like a whole spread. It was like, it wasn't just Viola Davis. It was like they had the thing with Lupita, and then they had other white actors and things like that. It was like a whole series that she did. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the...
But it got isolated, and the reason why is because we're hurting and we're triggered.
Yeah. I will say that if I had to pick which images were the worst one, were the better ones, it would be the Viola Davis one. It would be the Lupita one. The Simone one, I just can't.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Simone one at all.
That was...
See, and that's okay. I think that's the part that's been getting me about the debates on Twitter, and I think Twitter just takes it too far, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where we have to have a line to where at some point, when do we start to disrespect artistry, right? Mm-hmm. Because we can look at this image and say, I don't like it. But somebody went to the depths. Imagine somebody took your picture, edited it, and posted it back on the internet and said, this is how it should look. How would you feel?
I'd be hot.
I'll be ready to pull up and smack you. You feel me? Yeah. And because this is the worldwide internet and she's over there, you feel somebody took her image and re-edited and put it back. I'm like, and you're a photographer your own self. Like, how are you not uncomfortable doing that? That's where I feel like the lines are being crossed. We can have these discussions and like understanding each other's points of views, but like, y'all, they took it too far. Because somebody took my picture and edited it. Oh, nah. I'm suing you. Like, we're fighting.
So do you think the picture of Justice Ketanji Brown could have been more light and like, because I felt like it's like her introduction as the new Black woman justice. So I, as you explained it, I can understand the Viola, the Lupita, but then why is the Justice Ketanji Brown one still feels like desolate almost? And it's like,
for me, I feel like with those images, I think that is an improvement that Annie can make, is where she gets so caught up in the cinematic scenery. Because when I look at that image, right, everybody's focused on how now well-lit she is, but when I look at that, look, bro, do you see how she captured that image with the monuments in the back, the composition? The composition. She is focused on the composition, and I think that's where there is definitely room for her to improve. Because with that image, she was focus on the composition because she wanted to show the impact of her position.
Got you.
her Kataji was just a piece of it, right? But she's representing this Black woman in this setting. I feel like that's what I see from what she was doing, because I feel like I understand her artistic eye, and that's always what she's trying to do.
Gotcha.
It's not, her subjects are a small piece in the entire image. You know what I mean? The elements in the composition is very important to Annie. So I feel like when I see that, although I still feel like she could have had more of a key light on Kataji to make her, highlight her even more. But then at the same time, I see the background, and I see everything, and I'm like, overall, she looked at the image like, this is big. You know what I mean? So there's room for improvement for sure. But I think she's not a mercenary. She's a girl.
There's room for improvement.
She's definitely stuck in her style.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, to be fair, at her point in her career, I probably would be too.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? I'm probably not changing nothing for nobody.
Yeah.
So I get it.
No, go ahead. I've always been the type of artist and creative who, like, I could never say I got one distinct style. Like, it shows in the way I dress. It shows in the way, if I've drawn something, it shows in the way I photograph. Where I like to experiment so much and try so many different things that I feel like I have a reaction to when people do the same thing. Like, even if it is phenomenal. I don't know why, but like, I noticed that I was watching some show on Netflix. I'm not gonna remember the name of it, but it's a show on Netflix where it's like a designer, like she has her own company, and she has this like style that's like very white. Like, the approach to everything is just like, everything is light and white. And I was just like, what is she had someone come to her and say, hey, like, I went to a vacation in Jamaica or Hawaii, and I loved all the colors, tropical colors, and she wanted to incorporate that in the house. And she came back and it was like one pop of color. Yeah. And I'm like, you spend so much time focusing on your aesthetic and your style. And I do understand, because like, when someone comes to you, they come to you to like photograph something in your way, in your style. Like, you're gonna do that because that is your style. You came to me for a reason. But at the same time, I'm like, there's got to be a little bit of give. Like, I just felt like the give that she gave was barely anything. Yeah. It was just like, I'm not even trying to do what was flattering to you or what is going to work for you. Yeah. And I feel like artists also need to be flexible in that way, where you can't be so focused on your aesthetic that you do a disservice to the person who you are producing the art for, if that makes sense.
That's a good point.
I think having like the versatility that we have now with our creative projects and our art is a privilege that we now have. I think that we have to also recognize that for a lot of OGs or people who have been doing this for a long time, they had to stick to one thing in order to get to where they're at now. That's a privilege that, even if you talk to a lot of older photographers, if you have like older mentors, they're going to tell you, pick a niche, pick a lane, and perfect that, right? Yeah. But our generation...
Don't do too many things.
Yeah, exactly. Our generation, we're like, nah, I'm going to be a singer, dancer, acrobat. I'm going to juggle. I'm going to do everything, and it translates in our artistic, like the way we express ourselves as artists. Like, and I think that's a bit of a privilege, because we are in a space now where we can do that, right? I can switch back and forth and do what I want. I want to model. I want to be a photographer. I want to be an influencer. I can do all those things, but that was not the reality. So I think a lot of those older, but that's where I agree with all of you across the board that it is time to get them out the way. I love, like, I'm going to fight for her artistic, I'm going to fight for her artistic freedom, because I'm really big on that. I think it's very hard for me to critique someone's art unless it's just blatantly just really bad. Right. Where I know there's no finesse or nothing, no intention in it. But I'm always going to fight for that. But I do think that I don't want to see another Annie shoot right now, especially for these new things. Yeah. I want new people to have, it's time. Yeah. It's time for us to narrate this, right? This is Kataji's, as much as I do love the images for my own point of view, this is a major thing that happened in our time and day. Somebody from our time should have been the one to capture that from our perspective, because we would have been expressing what we feel. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's the biggest frustration, but then it gets lost in translation. Everybody got their own, political agenda to it. But
Sound like she needed Miss Winter need to step down.
Yeah, she needs to go.
Both of the Annies just need to take a vacation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Enjoy life.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
So it's like
Y'all left
send
that
her on
imprint already.
assignment, like, because you know what I'm saying. That's what Annie's really thriving
Yeah.
at is these assignments. Send her on assignment somewhere. Let us handle this stuff.
Yeah,
Sure,
for real.
buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was actually a very good discussion. I appreciate you guys' insight. I feel like I learned a lot as well too.
Me
from
too.
your
It kind of
artistic
checked me a
minds.
little bit.
Yeah, it definitely checked me a little bit. Hopefully, it checks some of y'all a little bit as well too. But to close it out, we have this segment called Hot or Not, bringing it back where we kind of just get your opinion on a topic in fashion or something that's kind of been like a hot discussion. And I feel like lately, well, not lately, probably since like for a couple months, the hoochie daddy shorts thing have been like a discussion.
Ain't nothing but a
I've seen
hoochie
online.
daddy. Ain't nothing but a hoochie daddy.
Oh my god!
Twitter, right?
So
What is it? A song? Is this a song
It's a
on
song,
Twitter?
right?
Oh, I never know any of the memes.
I feel like it's
know
like
any of the
a
memes.
remix to the
Yeah.
hoochie
Oh, okay.
mama.
Hoochie
Yeah.
mama.
Yeah. So I guess
I didn't know
hot,
there was a remix. I was just doing that.
it was a remix. So hot or not hoochie daddy shorts.
Yeah. The shorter the better. I want to see thighs.
Better.
I want to see thighs. I don't want to see knees
Thighs
down.
out.
No, I want thighs. Yeah,
Wow.
especially if you got tattoos. Yeah, let's go.
Eyes out.
Okay, she done said it. Yogi,
He's a prime
You
example.
see where I'm at with it.
Yogi got thigh tattoos as well too. Okay,
Prime example.
and Dima.
Oh yes, I love thighs.
Okay,
Yes, give it to me.
I do wish they still sold regular shorts though, because like it's not an everybody thing. I feel. I feel
Oh,
like you
wait.
gotta be able to know what you're doing with
You
it.
gotta
Yeah,
own
make it
it.
happen.
they don't
You gotta
sell
own it.
regular
You gotta own
shorts
it.
now.
I haven't been able to find it.
I mean, because it's so hot that you're not really seeing it out there. But no, I mean, people are finding regular shorts, but yeah. It's a thing. But no, I'm very serious. The shorter, the better. I think that's the point that a lot of y'all are missing. I see the knee length one. As a matter of fact, yes, just a little.
Have y'all heard or listened to like any of those videos on Instagram where it's like the the hoochie daddy shorts on our agenda for the gay men to like
Yeah.
I've seen
Really,
that.
y'all?
yo
Oh my god. The funniest things has been the skits of like the role reversals of like women like Holland like
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
hey, yo,
yes.
hey, yo, with
Hey
the
yo, with them short
That's
shorts
the
on. Oh my
And
god, I love it.
It's just like shorter inseam shorts are not anything new.
Yes, at all.
Yeah, they're not.
It's like the whole agenda thing I'm not understanding
It's
because
not new
running
at
shorts has
all.
always been a thing. Soccer shorts has always been a
Yeah.
thing.
But it was also a thing in the 90s. Like
Yes.
it's not the first time in our lifetime that this has happened.
Exactly.
Harlem Globetrotters.
I
Wearing
have
those
there's
shorts.
pictures in my house of my daddy with an afro and some short shorts. Like it's
Exactly.
Yeah.
not nothing
Yes.
new.
My dad too. So that
Yeah, same.
it was some man with some Farrakhan hat on, and I was just
Oh,
like, what?
you talking about 19 Keys? Yeah.
Oh, see, I never know these people.
Yeah.
Their
He had
actual names.
it got the crown and
Oh, yeah.
that's
Sounds like
19.
a
Yeah.
conversation he would have.
I was like, oh,
But 19 be spitting. No, let's not
No,
do
he
that.
do.
He
He
actually he actually be bringing some good stuff. But
oh, really?
I like shorter inseam shorts, but I don't like the hoochie daddy term. I'm not a fan of that. Like
I could go without
it's
it.
it's a little bit corny to me. Like,
Yeah,
Why don't you like it, Chuck?
Because I think it's corny.
Do you feel
Yeah, like how
Objectified?
exactly do you?
I mean, I don't think I've felt objectified, but I don't want to feel objectified. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, like.
You don't want to be a hoochie daddy?
No desire.
It's not-
Like, don't refer to my shorts as hoochie daddy.
You don't wanna be a-
call me a hoochie
city
daddy.
boy?
Don't use
Right.
hoochie whatever. I don't want to be a city boy. I don't want to be none of that
Down right
stuff.
now.
I'm just trying to be.
Oh, he just
me,
lost
like,
y'all a bunch of
yeah,
points.
like,
City boys are
I'm not interested
down.
in being a
Numbers-
city boy. But like, I don't. It's like
just make
it was
something
like it was like okay, maybe like the first or second week, but then I feel like they kill everything.
That's
Yeah.
the thing too. I think that's what it is. It's
So
like,
it's like
it
now
goes
they
crazy
kill
and
it.
then
Like
it
it's
becomes
just too much. It's
skits.
just like over the top. Like I even seen, like it was a while ago, I seen some dude, he had made shorts and he actually wrote like Hoochie Daddy on them. Like, all right, the level of corny it's gotten to is
That's
just
the
way
thing.
too high.
He wrote Hoochie Daddy on them.
Like I was just like, I'm like, you just trying to make a
butt?
quick buck. Like there's
On the butt of the
no. It's right
Like
here.
at the butt, right?
Nah.
Oh my God, can you
That would be
imagine if he hit you with the G unit like that and put Hoochie Daddy in the back?
Yeah, nah, that's
Crazy.
But it's just like that. The term is corny. It feels corny to me. But like, short, like I said, shorter inseam shorts have always been a thing. So that's why, like, it's dope. Rock it, wear it. Make sure you know what you're doing. Feel comfortable, whatever. But like, don't. Yeah, you like. I can't speak for the rest of them, man. You see me, don't. Hoochie Daddy, nothing to me. No shorts, don't call me no Hoochie Daddy. You're not gonna get no attention like that or none of that. Like I'm not rocking.
I'm now gonna constantly
Can't wait. You're naming her phone to Hoochie Daddy
because that's Dima. I've literally known Dima since 9th grade, so it's like she has the leeway to do that. But the rest of y'all, it's a no, a hard no. Also random, but stop asking me my zodiac sign. I'm sick of that. Women ask me that 24/7. Like I'm not giving you my zodiac sign. You're not getting my birth chart. Like
what time you were born, all that.
That's the first thing I do. So you were born and what time? I'm a Sagittarius. Proud Sagittarius. Oh, you're Sagittarius.
Oh, you're a Sag? Oh, okay. All right. I love Sag. I love Sag women. I love Sag women. I think, I obviously think Virgo women are top tier. But outside of Virgo women, if there's a zodiac sign for women that I would ride for or that I'm like constantly inspired by, is Sag women. Sag women just have something about them that's just so... It's a boss energy.
I like her, y'all.
Nurturing. It's like boss energy is nurturing. And then what I really love about y'all is like when y'all have your minds made about something, you're going to make it happen. I love that about Sag women. Like, it's just bosses. Like, they don't take no shit from nobody. I like that. But I think that's because, like, I feel like that's how Virgo women are as well.
Yeah.
So I really like
you
that.
guys are so... I have a really good friend. Shout out Courtney, who's a Virgo. And like the level of detail that y'all like bring to the work, whatever you're executing, I love it. That's like
it's a blessing and a curse when it comes to that, because I'm like extremely detail oriented, which is a great thing when it comes to being a photographer, because like I notice so much about people, and that translates into my work. So
probably helps with processes and organization.
Yes, I am. When people see my process when it comes to like me exporting images and then storing it and then editing, they're just kind of like, what the hell? And I'm like, it's about a million folders, but it makes sense. Everything is where it needs to be.
You need that as a photographer.
No, for real.
Definitely.
Pictures will get lost.
Listen. Pictures will disappear off your hard drive and you like, hold up. Wait a minute now.
Oh, man.
I have a quick question. Chuck, what's your sign?
I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Got This in Black. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, whether it's in the palm of your hand, on your computer screen. Thank you for showing us love. Where can the people find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram and you can find me on Twitter if you're ready to talk shit. But it's the same thing everywhere. It's Maeva the Radiant, and that's Maeva the Radiant on every social media platform.
You have a website?
Yes, my website is maevatheradiant.com. I make it real easy for you.
Simple thing, okay? Yogi, where they find you?
Yogi, Instagram, Twitter, at Yogi the Shooter. Everything spelled fully. Website, respecttheshooter.co. RESPECTHE shooter.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys. We really appreciate it. This was a very good discussion.
Yes, it was.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was dope. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We'll see you guys in another episode.
Peace.